Okay, and so it's live now.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. So on 28th of April today, we have
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. My dear fellow Malaysians, as one of the world's most popular travel destinations, Malaysia has been hit hard by the global pandemic. Tourism is a big part of our economy, and our country's tourism sector is suffering. At risk are tens of thousands of businesses and the millions of Malaysians who depend directly or indirectly on the tourism industry for their jobs to put food on their tables. Your government has and is initiating several programs and activities to stimulate Malaysia's tourism sector to help sustain it and save Malaysia. But my fellow Malaysians, to truly save it, I humbly ask you to consider one thing: travel domestic. Plan a day trip, a weekend getaway, or more. Just travel domestic. Stay in our beautiful hotels, resorts, homestays, and hostels. Enjoy our beaches, dive sites, and golf courses. Don't resist the local makan. Visit all our IG-worthy hotspots, theme parks, and national parks. Book your trip with our tour companies, guides, and operators. Travel with our bus operators, our trains, airlines, ferries, and river boats. There's so much to see and do in Malaysia. Just go. Rediscover the joy of traveling domestic. Together, let's help save Malaysia's tourism sector and help our fellow Malaysians. The time is now. Travel domestic. And don't forget to practice social distancing. Wear your face mask and sanitize your hands often to stay safe always. Thank you.
Hello, Assalamualaikum. Okay, selamat petang semua. Okay, hari ni 28 hari bulan 4 bersamaan dengan puasa yang ke-16. So, kita dah menghampiri ke penghujung kempen FB Live iaitu Perak is open to travel. Jadi, terima kasih kepada semua yang telah menonton bersama dengan kami Adventure 360. Betul tu. Alhamdulillah lebih kurang 20 slot product update di negeri Perak dah dilaksanakan sepanjang bulan April ini. Jutaan terima kasih diucapkan kepada semua penggiat pelancongan yang telah bekerjasama dengan Adventure 360 untuk sama-sama mempromosikan produk pelancongan di Perak. Okay, pada hari ini kita akan berbicara tentang Sun Yat Sen Trail. Pernah dengar tak tentang Sun Yat Sen? Tak pernah. So hari ni kita ada bersama dengan tetamu istimewa wakil Sun Yat Sen punya Sun Yat Sen Trail bersama host kita Encik Isham. Jadi kita akan invite Encik Isham sebagai host kita petang ni. Jangan lupa share. So sebelum tu minta untuk share ramai-ramai FB Live di FB page Adventure 360 dan juga
Okey, terima kasih Di and Laila. Ya, terima kasih kerana host kita pada hari ini. Anyway.
alright.
Okay, so hari ini tuan-tuan, our listeners out there, we are going to go into Ipoh, one of the famous trail in Ipoh. It's just basically a new trail in Ipoh, and together with us today we have our guest, Ms Chan Sue Meng, who is actually born in Ipoh, but then permanent now she is a permanent resident of Singapore, and she is a sustainability reporting and strategic communication specialist. That's basically a little bit about our guest today. And in 2011, the Sun Yat Sen Nanyang Memorial Hall in Singapore, part of the National Heritage Board, has funded her research on how the Chinese communities in Ipoh has supported Dr. Sun Yat Sen, which is the first president of China. Okay, so now we are going to her all about the trail that she has developed here in Ipoh, based on her book, which is published in 2013 and then followed by the Chinese edition in 2015. And of course, in 2019, based on this book, which was supported by Tourism Perak, the first phase of the marker trail was established with 10 signages. So basically, we are going to listen to her while she actually go through the trail today. Hopefully, she can show us what's Dr. Sun Yat Sen's trail is all about. So let me just put in, hi, Sue Meng, how are you?
Hi, Hisham. Thank you for having me, and hi, everyone. It
Can you
has
hear
just
me
started.
properly? Hi.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
So I can, yes, I can see that you are actually outside, not indoor.
Yes, I'm outside. Yes. And
That's
can you hear me?
surprisingly. Yes, we can hear you properly. So,
Okay, wonderful.
oh, all right. So today we are going to Chan Sue Meng on her Dr. Sun Yat Sen's trail and what it's all about. And I think this is one of the latest trail which is lesser known here in Ipoh. So that's why we actually brought Ms. Chan Sue Meng to talk about the Dr. Sun Yat Sen trail and what is it all about. And of course, we are hoping that it's going to be a very fun trail, and hoping that the weather will be on our side. So since she's outside, trying to show us the trail. So good luck to you, Ms. Chan Sue Meng. Go ahead.
Thank you, Hisham. Well, good afternoon, everyone. And the downpour has just started. So I hope that we can do this smoothly. But hi, everyone. 11 years ago, I embarked on a journey to learn more about my great great grandfather, who was a supporter and friend of Dr. Sun Yat Sen. His revolutionary efforts, Dr. Sun, ended thousands of years of feudalism in China, and Emperor Puyi became the last emperor of China when he stepped down from his throne, probably way more gracefully than Donald Trump did. And Sun Yat-sen wanted equality, equity for all. And here in Perak as an Ipoh, thousands of poverty-stricken Chinese dream the same dream to create livelihoods for the people. After all, they left their beloved motherland because there was no livelihoods to be found there. And this is in much the same way as our migrant workers today who are in our construction sites, who are in our construction sites, who are in our kitchens and our homes, left their mothers and their fathers and husbands and wives and children to labor in our society today. But Ipoh and Perak is, very few people know that Ipoh and Perak was top three fundraiser for one of Dr. Sun's most important uprising, which was the second uprising from the last that led to the final toppling of the Qing. And this is the Huang Hua Gang uprising. And very few people also know that in Perak, Perak was the top. Perak had more reading clubs than any other state in Malaya, and that includes Singapore. So reading clubs were set up by Sun Yat Sen's supporters to raise awareness for his cause and raise supporters. And here, although the first reading club was set up in 1907, eventually, as I said, the club outnumbered those in all other parts of Malaya, including Singapore. So today, as I said, it's downpouring at the moment, and we are going to firstly and only visit the former residence and business address of one of Sun Yat Sen's biggest supporters. And I have a very kind lady here who has come out to escort me with an umbrella over to the other side of the road. So let me turn the camera around so that you are not facing me, but facing what I am facing. Oops, sorry. Hang on a second. Hisham, Hisham, can you turn off the slides? Can you turn off the slideshow?
The slide already turned off.
Okay. Hang on.
Alright. Take your time.
So I can't seem to turn the camera to face the ahead of me.
Click the middle one button. The one with
The middle one.
Right one. Yes. Yes, I can see it.
Okay. Sorry about that, everyone. So here we are on Jalan Sultan Yusuf, that used to be called Belfield Street, and we are now facing a row of 7 shop houses, and right in front of me is the Hainan Association, and beside that is Yongju Chiang. So Hainan Association, as you can see from the address at the top of the building, was established in 1912, but they were not always here, at least not occupying the both units. So we are now going to walk across. I don't know if you can see the downpour. And I have here Miss Ling, Ling Jie, who's been kind enough to bring an umbrella over. Shall we walk across, Miss Ling Jie? Yeah. Thank you so much. Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
So we are here in front of this shop house, Yongju Chiang. And now I would like to invite all of you, ladies, Hisham, and all the audience out there to close your eyes and imagine with me, okay? Let me take you back to 1908 to the sleepy tin mining town of Ipoh. It is a pitch black night, and the silence is so loud you could have heard a pin drop. And in a dark, deserted alley, the back door of a shophouse silently opens. Out creeps a man dressed as dark as the night itself. He scurries stealthily down the alley and disappears into the thick of the quiet, ominous night. He would not have left the house at any time other than the darkest and the quietest of nights. He was a fugitive on the run from the Qing dynasty's global police who had standing orders to capture and kill him for spreading revolutionary ideas around the world. You can open your eyes now if you actually did close them at all. So that man, guess who? Was Dr. Sun Yat Sen, a dashing figure of a man, in my opinion, who was always on the run because of his dream and his vision to see a modern China. And we are standing in front of Yongju Chiang, and my grandmother used to tell me the story that I just recounted when she was still alive, because she lived in this shop house with her grandfather, meaning my great-great-grandfather, who was a friend and loyal supporter of Sun Yat-sen. And as a child, my grandmother used to trail her grandfather all around this shop house and hang on to his every word. Every evening, she would wait patiently in this main living hall, as you are seeing now, waiting for his return home. And she loved being in the warm environment of this shop house, where many framed photographs of Sun Yat-sen, along with certificates of honor bestowed by Sun Yat-sen to my great-great-grandfather, decorated the walls. So she was the apple of my great-great-grandfather's eye, and equally, she adored him. And when my grandmother died, she left behind a file containing her memoir, which was mostly about him, pages out of history books that talked about him, certificates of honor that was given by Sun Yat-sen to him, and a very intriguing letter from Sun Yat-sen to my great-great-grandfather, written in 1914 from Japan in English, something that I can read much easier than I can read in in Chinese. So this letter was written from Japan to Sun Yat-sen, from Sun Yat-sen to my great-great-grandfather. And guess what? To this address beside Yongju Chiang, and this address was my great-great-grandfather's business address by the name of Chop Ban Sing. So above these two units, Chop Ban Sing, then today it is one of two units occupied by the Hainan Association. And according to family memoirs and family accounts, upstairs, 26 and 28, the family had adjoining like a second floor, and the living area was much larger. And Sun Yat-sen was believed to have accommodated here on the one occasion that he visited Ipoh. So as we had, as Hisham had mentioned, in 2019, with the support of Tourism Perak, we set up the first 10 signages, and most of them are around Old Town. So here is one, and if you can see the picture on the on this signage, it is Hainan Association 2 renovations ago that looks a lot more similar to what the original structure used to be. And number 4 is the number on the large pin map of the Sun Yat-sen Trail, which you can see later. So Tempat Perlindungan, Finding Shelter is the title of this section of my book, and the main signages are in all standard content except for the picture, except for the subtitle, and except for the QR code. But the body is the same. It introduces this heritage trail. And if you have your QR scanner ready, you can actually scan this QR code through my screen here, and you will be able to read some of what I had talked about. And when I talked about that letter, a very intriguing letter written by Dr. Sun Yat Sen to my great-great-grandfather in 1914, this letter, reading it, made me feel a little bit like Charlie Chan, or like, a super detective, because in this letter, my great-great-grandfather had been warned by Sun Yat Sen that he had lost confidence in a certain somebody who was a very big supporter. And in this letter too, Dr. Sun had said to my great-great-grandfather that this person had executed more men than even President Yuan Shikai, who was then the president of China after Sun Yat-sen. So he then very melodramatically warned my great-great-grandfather to tell all the donors and fundraisers that all the money raised for him should be given to him and nobody else. And if they did not agree with it, then it's better to keep the money to themselves, was what he said in that letter. So did anybody have a chance to scan this QR code? Okay, if not, then I am going to go. Today, I'm very lucky that we are very lucky. I don't normally do this, but we have been given permission to enter the Hainan Association, and now we are coming into the main living hall. And to my left-hand side is where number 26 28 Belfield Street used to be, which is Chop Ban Sing, my great-great-grandfather's shop house. So then this is number 30. They have 2 units, and this here, Ling Jie was the kind lady who had come across with an umbrella to fetch me. You can see the pouring rain, right? So we are going to take a tour upstairs, a quick one, and then come back downstairs and have a little chat. So formerly there would have been another set of staircase at the other, since it's now joined. There is. So this is the Hainan Association today, the main living meeting hall. It's really big because it's 2 units, or well, 1.5 units, or 1 3/4 of a unit. So this is where Hainan Association holds all their big events and conferences. Okay, can anyone hear the thunder downstairs?
Miss, we have a question.
Yes.
Yeah, about the hall earlier. Is it
Can be rented?
Can we rent it for something else? Outside of the organization?
I can ask for you if anybody wants. It's a very nice hall, isn't it? And a hall with a lot of history. Yeah. I think they normally use it for their own events, but it's big, and if you want to rent, then let me know. I will ask. I will ask the association.
So for the capacity?
I will ask as well. Half of what it used to be. So coming back down now. I think so here we are back in the first floor, and right at the back it is like more meeting space, and we are now going to enter this room, which is the conference room, and carry on our chat. So sorry about the rain. I hope it did not interrupt any of the connectivity. So here is the entire, well, not entire, a part of the history of the association. The company, the association secretary was here earlier on, but he has had to dash off, and he may be online watching, I'm not sure. So, okay. I'm going to turn the camera back facing me.
Okay.
Okay. So I hope that was all right. Any questions so far?
Okay, it's so interesting tour.
Yeah, thank you. Maybe you can show the second slide.
Okay. So Ms. Su Meng, which generation are you?
Which generation? I am 5 generations from my great-great-grandfather. And I always get upset if someone skips one great, because then I become 2 generations older.
Your great-great-grandfather must be proud of you.
Great, yeah. I don't know, but I hope so.
You have done your part.
Okay, so this is the So if anybody had a chance to look at the look through and go into the QR code earlier on, you would have ended up at a landing page that offers you an option of reading the that section of the book in English or Chinese. And when you click through and start flipping the book, you will reach the end of the section where you will see this map as well. So this is an overview of the Sun Yat Sen Trail since it was published in 2013, the book, and there are 25 locations. So in 2019, with the support of Tourism Perak, as earlier said, we installed the first 10, and most of them are around Old Town. So it's a very easy walk, and we hope that, like, with this map, no one will get lost, because right at the far corner, far right corner, you would see the street names, and the street names are in 3 versions. One is the old colonial names, and then you have beside that the Cantonese nicknames, because in the past the Cantonese community, and even now to a large extent, the Cantonese community would have specific names for specific streets, because they sell specific things. So like Jalan BJ Tima would be formerly for the Chinese called Ham Yu Gai, and Ham Yu Gai in English means salted fish. Ayam Ikan Masin, Jalan Ikan Masin, something like that. So yeah, so if, like, regardless of who you ask, this trail is supposed to help you to navigate your way around to all the points. So now we are working with Tourism Perak and MBI to put up the additional signages. So hopefully by the end of this year, you would see more points on the trail according to the red markers that you see there. So Sun Yat Sen supporters, if you go down Old Town, you would find the residence and business address of other very important supporters, and you would find places like places where his supporters would organize Chinese opera as a way to create awareness for Sun Yat Sen by sending secret messages through these like music. And also, like, you know, from these secret messages, you know, you would have the tin mine workers who would, like, you know, be coming to town over the weekends to enjoy entertainment. And like, you know, the only kind of entertainment that they most likely know is Chinese opera coming from China. So aside from conveying like revolutionary messages, they would also be collecting these like ticket funds and channeling it to Sun Yat Sen's cause. So we talked about reading rooms, we talked about, like, you know, ways to communicate messaging, like revolutionary messaging through opera. And also in schools, the Sun Yat Sen supporters had, like, you know, used schools, night schools and day schools to communicate the message. So there are, like, you know, schools in Ipoh, like Yok Choi, with a very strong history of supporters of like Sun Yat Sen, like, you know, the founding members of Yok Choi School was one of Sun Yat Sen's greatest supporters. So this map is, we're going to have a couple of big blow up maps so that it will be easy for people to find their way around. Yep. You want to, yes.
How many guides available for the trail tour, and how many pets per group for one tour?
For me, I do, you know, informally small groups, but I'm very happy to say that we are training and working together with the Perak Tour Guide Association. So we did our first on-site training outside of classroom. Classroom trainings, we've done about 3 to 4 sessions. And last weekend, we took a group of tour guides out under their continuing tourism-related education, CTRE, to and like the Sun Yat Sen Trail was one of the new products that they were exposed to. So hopefully, you know, there will be more guides trained. The very first one will be run this coming Sunday, but it's already full. And that one is for, I think there will be 12 packs joining.
12 packs, I see. Okay.
Yeah. So it's quite difficult to run big groups right now with all the social distancing and measures. But we can run it very often.
So one day we will join for the tour.
I hope you will.
Yeah.
Just the Old Town bits alone will be about 6 points, 6 or 7 points. And like I said, we are adding on. So if there are no questions about this, you can move on to the next slide.
To the next slide. Okay. So maybe after Raya we will meet for the tour.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
So guess what this is?
So this is the sustainable development.
Okay, so this orange visual is our visual to represent the Sun Yat Sen Ipoh Trail. So if you look at the picture of Sun Yat Sen, the black and white one on the top left, you would see, this is like, a picture of Sun Yat Sen that everybody, a lot of people are familiar with. So what we have done is to apply a pop art kind of finish on his face and body in the orange image. And then on the outside of that image, on the wall, you would see the word Chinese version, the English version, and the we used a finish on the words art piece, which is a very famous piece of surrealist art. So the words almost look like it's slumped, and why we have combined two types of art influence in this image is because we wanted to convey that diversity can coexist in harmony. And when we use where is the image? It's gone. Can you put it back on?
Okay, sure.
Yeah. So the and using 4 languages for this really is our way of communicating that we are inclusive minded. So we have inclusion and diversity here. And the colors are very interesting because you earlier mentioned sustainable development goals. So sustainable development has got 17 goals. The United Nations has got 17 goals for the world to reach by 2030. So, it's like a goal of eradicating poverty, goal of education and climate change and all that. So for us, we have chosen 3 goals to align to, and that is the goal of creating decent work and economic growth, which is the burgundy color that you see in the top square beside Dr. Sun's face. So, creating decent work and economic growth is also aligned with Sun Yat Sen's dream of people's livelihoods. Remember, we said earlier, thousands of Chinese, dream the same dream, and that is to create livelihoods for the people. So, with this one color that we used on Sun Yat Sen's hair, it's communicating both the UN goal as well as Sun Yat Sen's dream. So then we use orange. Orange is the color, the box at the bottom. Orange is the color of innovation. So, and why did we use this? It's because for me, and one of the things that I'm most passionate about in promoting history and is to innovate it so that it is relevant to the values of today. So innovation is a very strong value for us as well. And although for the UN, orange that represents innovation, infrastructure and industry is actually more specifically referring to technological innovation. But for us, it's the spirit of being innovative that is important. And this is the color behind this background of the wall. And finally, we use the color navy blue, which is the middle color on the box, on Dr. Sun's coat. And this is really a dream to work with shared values and shared vision stakeholders. And for us, this visual that we've chosen to create it to represent the Ipoh Trail is, I'm not sure if any of you can appreciate this, but when I was young, every time we come to the topic of history, or even when my grandmother wanted to talk about history and this history, I would say oh no, it's so boring, I want to go. I don't want to listen to it anymore. So I really think that, the reason, not I really think, the reason why we created this image is so that, it aligns and resonates with the values of today's community and today's, the kind of things that you care about today and I care about today. But also, in a familiar way that, I mean, nobody can mistake the image of Sun Yat Sen. And that's what, this is the legacy that our fathers and mothers in Perak have left us to use, so that it can benefit people today. But in terms of Sun Yat Sen, everybody recognizes his image. So, and when we talk about sustainability, it's important to walk the talk, right? So we had earlier, you asked me, how many people can do this trail and how many guides are there. And it makes me very happy that tour guides are using this trail and will be using it more, because it's only with adoption that something can be successful. So we also depend on the local community, and that's why this program is very important, because travel locally. Locals have to support this as well before it can really benefit the local community. So one thing that made me very happy was, I said that we have 10 signages installed, and at one of the coffee shops that we had installed the signages, a signage, the tenant or the landlord had told me, oh, we want to create, since you have a signage here now, we want to create a Sun Yat Sen Tau Fu Fa. You know what Tau Fu Fa is? The bean curd, like Funny Mountain, that kind of bean curd. Yeah. So, this is precisely what this trail is for. It needs to be sustainable. And one of the ways that it's sustainable is people can develop new products and services around this. And eventually, what we also want to do is to train women from B40 backgrounds, so that when tourism returns properly, there will be roles for them as well. And in terms of sustainability, I would also say that maybe this is more environmental sustainability, but the signages that you saw earlier, I mean, that one and the rest of the signages, the reason why we did it this way is because all the signages are the same. And when we update our information, when we do research, and now, we're working on the second version of the book, the updated version of the book, then the signages remain, and what changes is the back end, the QR code, and the information that a visitor will access is is accessed through the QR code, which we can content can be changed. So it's not like every time we have a new set of information, we're going to change the whole signage. Because
what do you think the level of sustainable development goals in Malaysia, the SDG in Malaysia,
and how can we improve on our SDG agenda?
How do you improve on your SDG agenda? Well, I think Perak itself is doing a lot to become a sustainable city, and it's important that we all do our part as well. I believe that recently, I read recently that Malaysia is one of the countries that are leading in sustainable development. So in these parts, so all a very good sign. And I think there needs to be a lot more advocacy. So a lot more training, a lot more awareness, and I think a lot of people are actually, in their own ways, for their own motivation, are actually doing and acting sustainably, but they may not necessarily tie them to those goals. Some people may maybe in their own ways reducing plastic bags. The supermarkets are not charging money on Saturdays, for example, to if you forget to bring your own bag, then you have to pay. So if it happens often enough, I know a lot of people think that it's lip service, but
and that it's just shallow. But if it happens often enough, and one has to pay that 10 cents,
So,
is it often enough?
another.
They will start to feel the pinch.
So how can we include more SDG initiative in our trail and
Well, this is it, and we want, like, to use this to do education as well. So there are some plans along the way which I can't talk about now, but I will definitely share once it's ready to share. But I think, like, everything around us can be, like, can have a sustainable development agenda. It's just a matter of how you innovate it, right? Oh, bless you.
sorry, I'm sorry.
But yeah, one of the things that we want to do is to use this image to share the goals. So it's just an image now, but watch out. I think, like, you will see some things interesting to come soon, I hope. And it's not just to promote these three goals. These are ours, but then, with what we have planned, I think, like, we will be able to create education of all the other goals as well, with various ideas, various plans that we have for engagement. I'm so glad to hear, like, your passion for SDGs.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Nothing. But we can proceed to the next section.
Yeah. So what is the next slide?
Thank you.
Okay, so this is information about the book. It's listed on National Library Board in Singapore, and the rest of the bullet points are the prologue and forward that was written by Professor Wang Gang Wu and Professor Wong Sin Kiong. So the books are out of print, but the digital versions are available on our website. So I'm happy to share that later if anyone is interested, and we can move on to the next slide.
Next slide.
You can move on. You can move back to the first slide if there. Just very quickly to the very first one, the introduction slide. This is a very beautiful oil painting, and this oil painting is 6 meter wide by 3 meter tall. So it is a painting that was commissioned by the former curator of the Sun Yat Sen Nanyang Memorial Hall in Singapore. So it's hanging there now. It belongs to the Singapore Chinese Chamber of Commerce. And this painting is actually a scene of a tin mine in Perak. I met the artist. He has gone back to China, but he was lecturing at the Nanyang Academy of Fine Arts in Singapore. So he was asked to do this painting. And this is a vision of the former curator who I spoke about, who has passed away. So in this painting, he had described that he had painted 124 characters into this, like, 6 meter by 3 meter. And he said that this is tea break time. It is during Mid-Autumn Festival. So if you look down to the bottom of the painting, you would see someone selling dumplings. Yeah. And then if you look to the other side at the bottom of the painting, there's, like, someone selling durians. So this is, he explained, 4 p.m. tea break time in a tin mine in Perak. It's a really beautiful painting, and of the 124 characters, you would see Dr. Sun Yat Sen in white coat, in the center top, and he has his three fingers raised up there, and those three fingers represent his three values, which is people's livelihoods, nationhood, and democracy. So for me, at least, my opinion is, all these poverty-stricken Chinese who came here to mine in these Perak's tin mines, to labor in the Perak's tin mines, for them, what would be most meaningful would be people's livelihoods. So if you have a chance, I hope you can see the real thing.
But the painting
And
looks so real.
it is beautiful. And all his supporters around him, including beside the three fingers, right on the
If you don't
left-hand side, is my great-great-grandfather.
Three fingers.
Yeah, three Dr. Sun's, what do you call it? Dr. Sun's in a white coat, right? And then he holds up three fingers. So next to his hand is my great-great-grandfather,
Which is means
Lee Guan Sui.
big ones.
Yeah. So a lot of people in Perak contributed to Dr. Sun Yat Sen, and this is a story that should be told.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hidden story.
So yeah, and so we call I call all this sunnypology, etc. Sun represents Sun Yat Sen. IP is for Ipoh, and ology is similar to biology, sociology, anthropology, so sun epology, etc. Dan lain-lain.
So, Miss, how to contact for trail in Ipoh?
And so I would love for the tour guides to have an opportunity to, like, conduct more trails. You can contact me. Of course, you can also contact the tour guide association, but contact me and I will link you up. I'm also, like, happy to do so. I've been doing some virtual walks. Unfortunately, the downpour today did not allow for maybe like at least one more stop, but we do virtual tours, and yeah, so just contact us. Yeah, either through that QR code or all the numbers are on this slide. And I think people can rewatch this, right, later?
Yeah, they can rewatch the FB page Adventure 360.
Yeah. So there you go. Any other questions?
You can scan at the barcode and contact to Ms Chan Sue Meng at the number
At the number 017
012
012
Yeah, and for those who are watching from not in Malaysia, you put a plus and 6 there.
Okay, thank you so much, Miss, for the interesting
Thank you.
for this evening. Hope to see you on the after Raya maybe. Hopefully.
I hope
We
so
will see you after
too.
Raya.
Yes, I really hope so. And thank you again for this opportunity. I had fun, and I will see you soon.
Yeah, it's a very informative live session with you. We hope to have an experience to be with your tour.
I hope so too.
Preserve this heritage.
Thank you, everyone.
All right, thank you so much, Miss.
All right, thank you for your time. See you.
Wait, let's take a Wi-Fi. Okay, bye. Bye.
Bye. Okay, that's all for today live.
That's the end of the live.
So hari ni kita dah berada di Ramadan yang iaitu di penghujung bulan April juga, iaitu 28 hari bulan 4. So insyaAllah esok adalah hari
Nuzul
Quran.
Al-Quran.
Selamat
Selamat
menyambut.
menyambut Nuzul Al-Quran.
So insyaAllah kita akan bertemu lagi pada hari Jumaat iaitu 30 April, iaitu hari terakhir bagi bulan April. So terima kasih kepada semua yang menonton bersama FB Live Adventure 360 di sepanjang bulan April. So jumpa lagi. Selamat berpuasa dan selamat menyambut Nuzul Quran. Alright.
Hub Inovasi dan Multimedia merupakan sebuah hub digital yang dibangunkan bagi memperkasakan kesedaran ICT awam, pembangunan model insan dan bidang ICT negeri Perak serta program tanggungjawab sosial korporat bagi pihak syarikat.